All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday, and you know what that means. It is time for manufacturing e-commerce success. I am one of your co-hosts, Damon Pistolka. That pretty guy right over there, Kurt Anderson, co-host with the most, is going to be helping us today. And we've got Dale in the house today. Kurt will talk about him, introduce him. We're going to be talking about AI tools for SEO and content engineers can trust. I am so excited. I tell you what, every time that video starts to play on Friday, it's just like the first time for me, Kurt.
That's
and
right.
I'm so excited for today.
Oh, dude, did you get a good night's sleep last night?
Yes, I did.
You went to bed early like I told you to?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because dude, this is a monster program here. So I am just so honored, so thrilled to introduce our dear friend Dale Bertrand. Dale, happy Friday. How are you, dude?
Well, I'm doing great, and I can feel the energy. So I'm so excited for the invite. I can't wait to get into it.
Well, and what a perfect business name, man. As a matter of fact, we need to dive into. We've got the CEO from Fire&Spark, and so we're going to take a deep dive into AI. And so, guys, drop a note in the chat box. Let us know that you're there. You absolutely want to connect with Dale. This is going to be a monster masterclass on AI. Dale, as we dive in, I've got a boatload of questions for you. We're going to have a lot of fun here. But before we get started, I do have one question for you. Now you're a New England guy, as I understand, right? Boston?
Yes, I'm up in Boston right now.
Okay. So question for you. When you were a little guy growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero?
Oh, geez. Maybe it was, I think back to the 86 Mets because I was a big baseball fan. So I think back to like
how they beat the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, I'm up in Boston now, so I don't want people to know that I started life as a Mets fan, but I think back to the 86 Mets with Darryl Strawberry and Lenny Dykstra and all the rest. Like they were really my heroes because I was big into baseball cards and all of that.
Man, Doc Gooden.
Yes.
Man, what a great team that was, boy. Mookie Wilson. That was a great season, and they did, so any of your friends in Boston, we won't let them know that.
Yeah, just don't mention the Buckner ball. I mean, we just don't want to go down that.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But all right, great. So Damon, we have we're huge baseball fans. So Dale, love that answer. Doc Gooden, Strawberry, what a one loaded season. What was it about that team that you found so inspiring?
I just remember that we didn't exactly have faith that they were going to be able to do it, but they pulled it off in the end with all of the drama in the World Series that year. All of the drama. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I think Gary Carter. I can almost rattle off that whole team. Damon, you remember those 86 Mets, right?
Oh yeah. Crazy good, crazy fun baseball time.
Yeah, they had as a matter of fact, they were on they had thin ice, and then unfortunately game 6 broke loose and the Mets end up winning that World Series. So Dale, great answer, man. We have not had the 86 Mets on the show, so that was a great. So let's go here. So Dale, as I understand, Damon, did you know we have an Ivy Leaguer here? Dale, do I understand this correctly? Did you go to Brown?
That's what I hear. Yeah, I met my wife there. So she and I have been together forever, and I have my 25th year reverse anniversary coming up. So it's our reunion. So our 25th year reunion coming up.
Nice.
Very cool.
Crazy.
Well, all right. So you go to Brown in electrical engineering, and as I understand, bachelor's and master's degree. Do I have that correct?
Yes, computer engineering. So I spent half of my time in computer science, the other half of my time in electrical engineering, and a little bit of time in the AI lab and in grad school at Brown. So that was my academic training.
Well, awesome. So, hey, Damon, we got a couple of friends.
Yeah, we do. I want to say shout out to Gary Wood today. Stopping by, Gary. Hi from Victor, New York. Thanks for stopping by. And Whitney Houston stopping by. Happy Friday from Houston, Whitney. Thanks for stopping by and dropping a comment.
Happy Friday, guys. Hey, we're here with Dale. Whitney, you caught Dale at the Industrial Marketing Summit in Austin, Texas. And so, again, you're out there. Drop us a note. Let us know that you're here. If you have any questions about SEO, about AI or the combo of both, we have the authority, the expert, the guru on this topic here, Dale, the CEO from Fire&Spark. So Dale, let's go here. So you go to Brown. So Damon, we love not being the smartest guys in the room. We are absolutely not the smart guys in the room today. So you go to Brown in electrical engineering. How does somebody go from electrical engineering to becoming an SEO expert? Can you walk us down that path?
Oh, that's a long story. So I got involved with a startup while I was still in school. So I was just very lucky that one of my professors knew someone was starting a company. So I worked with them, and that was in the chip space. So that company ended up getting sold like right after I graduated. So I was lucky that I had like, a little bit of cash, like some FU money, like right after school. And that allowed me, and for those of you who don't know what FU money is, it means you have just enough money in the bank that you can quit whatever job if you're not happy with it. So you say FU to your boss and walk away because I don't need this job. You can take it and shove it. But but other than that, so
I've never had that problem, Dale. But thank you.
So yeah, I mean,
Brown University graduate problem. That's what that is.
Yeah, Kurt is just like FU. It doesn't matter if he has money in the bank. So I had a bunch of opportunities to work at some startups. So I ended up doing engineering. I was writing code, but back then my specialty was writing software simulators of semiconductor devices. So I did that for like the first 8 years of my career. But then I really hit a wall. And I hit a wall in part because my boss at the time was a drunk sociopath, but I just didn't enjoy programming and sitting in front of a computer and like typing all day every day, wondering if my boss was going to come over to my cube and say something inappropriate. Right. But so I decided that I wanted a career that was more relational, like more people oriented. Yeah. So I basically quit that job. Like I was burnt out because at that point, 8 years into my career, I had worked at 3 different startups. Those are like nights and weekends, just like pressure cooker type environments. One of those startups, we built a supercomputer for the NSA, which is a totally different story. But that was the height of my engineering career. And so then I ended up moving over from like semiconductor manufacturing to marketing. And I was able to make that move because I had a technical background and I did it at exactly the right time. When digital marketing was really starting to become a thing in the early 2000s. And because digital marketing was becoming a thing, they basically wanted a technical guy that they could hire onto their marketing team. So I was hired on as a consultant to several marketing teams, and that's how I got my start in marketing. And I kept that going and, started Fire&Spark. So now we're an agency and I've got a few people working with me. But in the end, people were hiring me more for SEO than anything else because of my AI background, because I studied AI in grad school. So that's how I ended up with Fire&Spark. Now we focus on SEO strategy and only SEO strategy. We don't pretend to be world-class at anything other than SEO strategy. And we're like 20 people in Boston now.
Wow. Okay. All right.
What did he just say here though, Kurt? What did he just say that just rings true with what you say all the time? Niche down until it hurts.
Yeah.
We're only good at SEO. That's awesome, Dale.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And combination things. Damon, we've got a couple more friends.
Yeah, I want to just say someone's shouting out from Sneall, Florida. Thanks for stopping by today. And we got Wabes from Nigeria. Thanks for stopping by today.
Happy Friday. And we've got a great, and we've got Dale's got to see this comment here from Whitney. Yeah. His Dale session was mind blowing. I agree. So guys, we've got Dale here, CEO of Fire&Spark, highly sought after keynote speaker. Dale, I have to, I'm going to, I don't know if I'm going off script or not. AI, you did AI in college. Did I catch that correctly?
In grad school, I was working in a lab at Brown. It's the laboratory for the engineering of man-machine systems. But what that means is computer vision. So we were doing projects in the medical space, which was segmenting medical images to find tumors and then measure the volume of tumors automatically. And then also we were working for the Department of Defense, like looking at, they were like images of airplanes. So we were building algorithms that would detect whether the planes were friend or foe, were they military or civilian, that sort of thing.
Wow. So, I mean, you're truly on the cutting edge. I mean, it's like AI is kind of in your DNA. You're truly a pioneer here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been following AI for a long time. I mean, the algorithms that I worked on in grad school are just obsolete at this point.
Yeah.
But I've been following it for a while, and more recently, we all know that ChatGPT is a thing, and there are a number of large language models and other predictive models that are useful in the field of marketing.
Right.
So we've adopted as much as we can, and I've actually gotten into AI consulting on top of the SEO consulting to help like marketing, sales teams, and operations teams, implement AI and make the most of it.
Well, absolutely love it, and I love it. You piqued my curiosity in the 2000s. When you're digital marketing, again, you're a pioneer in digital marketing. When you got your career started in that, were you right off the gate SEO? Were you doing a lot with pay-per-click? What was the early 2000s?
So when I got into digital marketing, I was curious about everything. And I was coming from like a technical and analytical background. So I built a bunch of websites that were hand coded. I did some projects for clients. There was one client where I built like a webinar system for them, similar to StreamYard, but with many, many less features, because they wanted their own proprietary webinar software. And I did a lot with analytics and AdWords back in the day, like advertising on Google. And then I also did SEO and content and email, but that was in the very beginning. I pretty quickly focused on SEO.
Right. Did you miss the electrical, when you went to college for electrical engineering? I don't know if you saw where you are today. Did you miss the engineering side, or have you been just purely able to incorporate that engineering side as you're targeting engineers?
Big time. I missed it. I still do. So I think like leaving the engineering profession and decide, like I had to go cold turkey on programming, tinkering. So I tell people, it was like making that transition was like cutting off my right arm.
Oh, was it really?
Oh yeah, because that's how that was my identity, was as an engineer, and my how I related to the world was through code, and even the way that I run my business now, very process oriented. We're obviously using technology as much as we possibly can for the marketing work that we do. So my brain still thinks like an engineer, but I like to think that I'm engineering business processes and marketing programs and relationships, more than back when I was engineering, electrons moving through integrated circuits and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love this. So, you seem very, process oriented, high energy, great speaker with that engineering mind. And now as I understand, you started Fire&Spark in 2008, 8-ish. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know about you, but like there's some scary times going on in 2008. Maybe, some people could say, hey, great time to start a business. Maybe not, a little scary time. What your engineering mind, was there any, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, excited, risky, scary? What was that transition?
All of the above. All of the above. I had been thinking about what type of business I wanted to start for a long time. Around 2008, there was a financial crisis, and I saw that coming because we had some issues at the startup I was working for before the financial crisis really hit. And then also that was right around the time that I got married. I knew that we were going to be having a baby. So I was thinking to myself, like, I've got to do something now before I have family and a house and, diminished job prospects keeping me where I was. So I felt like it was now or never at that particular time in my life.
Yeah. So, all right. So from starting your business, and as you just mentioned, 20 people strong now, has it been, do you feel like you've been, right in that lane? Have you had like an evolution just as you've evolved with new technology, or what's it look like? What does your business look like today compared to 2008?
Well, so the thing about the business is like it very much is like a sole proprietor type of business, where it was just me in the very beginning, and now it's 20 of us and I'm the sole owner. So the business can really only grow grow at the rate that I grow in terms of like my ability to sell and find new customers and manage the operations and all of that. So over that time, I think I've really been focused on my own growth as like a business person and trying to figure out how to get to where I want. But that's the hardest realization, which is like you're limited by your own like biases or, you know, disinterest in learning exactly what I need to learn next. And also like just I'm quite introverted, and I am the type of person still where I do my best work in front of a laptop by myself, you know, don't talk to me, that sort of thing. And that's a limiting factor when you're trying to build a team.
Yeah.
But all of that is limiting, and you have to figure out how you're going to delegate around it or learn around it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of learning, what I really, you know, I had the honor and privilege of catching your keynote at the Industrial Marketing Summit this year. And what I really admire is your dedication to, you know, you're just a fierce educator. And so, you know, when did that start in your career? Has that always been a part of your culture, part of your DNA from your business as an entrepreneur, that you're going to be out there educating folks? What's that look like?
Well, that's just fun for me. So I think I enjoy talking about things I'm excited about, technologies that I'm excited about. So that's just fun. Like, who wouldn't enjoy talking about what they're excited about? Right. And then when other people are also excited about it, and then they can take something from what the information I'm giving them and make a difference in their day-to-day or the work that they're doing. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazingly rewarding. So it's, you know, it's fun on the front end and it's rewarding on the back end. So that's how I really fell into speaking and workshops and more education.
Well, that's fantastic. Again, I want to drop a note to everybody. Damon, I think we have
we got a couple more people to stop by. We got Akarsh is here from India. Thanks for saying hello. We got Sunhal here, or Sunhail from the United Arab Emirates. Excuse me. But yeah, we got a couple more. Thanks for dropping by and dropping a comment.
Yeah, let us know you're out there. Bring your questions, because we have an SEO expert here. So speaking of SEO, so one thing that really piqued my curiosity, you've coined a term SEO for revenue. Can you just share with folks, you know, how is your approach different than, say, maybe other traditional SEO firms, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, SEO, we as marketers have been doing SEO for a long time, and it's always been focused on rankings and traffic, and started with keyword research. When you're doing a campaign, you also start with like a technical audit. And SEO has changed so much in the like 15, 20 years that I've been doing it. So I really started to talk about it as SEO for revenue, because what you should really be focused on for SEO is customer acquisition. And when you're focused on customer acquisition for your SEO campaigns, like, your strategies are different than if you were just focused on rankings and traffic. So that's what I think is most interesting. And that's what I talk about a lot when I'm speaking at conferences.
How about, let's take it another step further, if you don't mind. Do you have any examples, or like give us, you know, when you say, you know, the difference between, like, you know, gee, hey, look at, you know, every SEO expert's like, hey, I got first page ranking or whatever. Talk about that difference between that acquisition. You know, what does that look like, or any particular tips or strategies for folks?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is, if you're talking to a business owner or a business person, rankings, I mean, aren't very interesting. It's revenue and sales and customers that are interesting to folks who understand how business works, or people who are accountable to business leaders. Like, that's the first thing. And then when you get into kind of the details of how you run the campaigns and how strategy changes, we used to do keyword research and a technical audit upfront at the beginning of an SEO campaign. And that made sense because we're targeting keywords in our content. And then also, back then, it was true that if you made technical changes to your website, you could get more organic traffic and better rankings. But when you're focused on customer acquisition, like, you're focused on getting the right people to come to your website, people who are interested in buying the product or service that you have, or they're researching a purchase decision related to your offering. So when you're trying to get like the right people to come, then instead of thinking about like keywords and traffic, you're really thinking about search intents and researching your customers so you understand, what do your customers search for? like when I worked as an engineer, I was online in Google looking for data sheets, reference designs,
Right.
and the information that I needed to do the work that I was doing, because I was modeling these devices. So if you're targeting someone like me, you'd have to understand what those intents are. I have an intent to find information about a part that I may or may not design into my system. Or I might be looking to purchase a product or an oven when we're doing our reliability testing and stuff like that. So those are all different intents. And if you start with those intents that you want to target, then you can use those intents later on to filter the keywords you're going to go after, the topics you might write about, the type of content you'll create. So starting with those intents works a lot better. When you're starting with keywords, you end up in a situation where you're optimizing your content for keywords, but not everybody who is typing in that keyword that you're optimizing for actually has the intent that you need in order to convert them into a customer. So you end up with a whole bunch of traffic, but it's the wrong traffic. Then what you try to do, you do some conversion rate optimization. You try to optimize your site so that more of those people are going to convert. But if they're the wrong people in the first place, then you really should have started by targeting the right people.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely love that. Yeah. Drop the mic, Damon. Drop the mic.
No doubt.
That was, we talk about that a lot here, Dale, is, really laser focusing and targeting that ICP, ideal customer, speaking their language. A lot of times, we have internal speak, and because, what we talk about, internally at the company, and customers just don't know that language. They don't know the acronyms or the buzzwords or jargon. And so, I love what you're saying. I want to slide in here. You do an amazing job. As a matter of fact, when I chatted with you at the Industrial Marketing Summit, you just crushed it with your keynote. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're flying off to Miami for another keynote or workshop.
Oh, yes, I do remember that. Yeah. I did a full day workshop in Florida.
Yeah. And so you're all over. So, you really, you do a great job on educating and speaking to folks. What I would love to do is what I caught at the Industrial Marketing Summit. I don't want to put you on the spot, but you did a real wonderful masterclass on how your team are applying AI, with your SEO strategies. Can you scratch the surface a little bit on, I don't know if you remember everything.
Oh, I remember all of it, but what really resonated with you? What was the aha moment?
The aha moment, because I've been talking to people, I've been bragging about you all week, and I'm like, man, and I just talked to a woman yesterday who she was like, I told my boss I wanted to go to the Industrial Marketing Summit and I couldn't go. And I'm like, well, guess what? I'm bringing the Industrial Marketing Summit to you. If I'm not mistaken, if I heard you correctly, you said that you're using AI for 70% of upfront content. Do I have that right? And then you're kind of
yeah. I remember what we're doing in our agency is trying to use AI for the first draft of almost everything. Mm-hmm. So that might be writing an email, writing a report, doing some brainstorming, or maybe a plan for a webinar that we're running, or a strategy for an SEO campaign or influencer campaign. Or it could be a content brief or a piece of content, but try to use AI for the first draft of everything. And the point there is we're figuring out how to use it, where it works. Sometimes it slows us down because it's an inappropriate use of the technology, but that's the sort of thing that we need to figure out. So I love the idea of trying to use it for the first draft of everything. And then another useful exercise is when you sit down in front of your computer in the morning, you've got a full task list for the day. Give AI the task list and ask it how it can help you with these tasks. And what I love about that is a lot of what it comes up with might not be that helpful at all, but there'll be some gems in there where that really help you to learn how to use it for various tasks in ways that you didn't expect you could use it. But that's how I've been learning it.
Perfect.
Awesome. I'm just going to say awesome right there, because I've thought this a long time in the first draft part of using AI, because for me and a lot of people I talk with, going from the blank page to something is often the real time, because you don't see the ideas to get your brain started or concepts that AI can often help you just kickstart that. And then you may change 75% of it. into your language, into other points that you want. But that first initial piece really helps.
Yeah, we call that the blank page problem. If you've ever had to sit down and write an email, write a report, write a short story, I don't know, Kurt, what you do in your free time, but poems to your wife. Yeah, there you go. So anytime you sit down to write, like, you've got the blank page, and we've all had that experience where we just don't know what to do next. We don't know where to start. Right. So with AI, where you would start is you would describe to it what you're trying to do. So you might say, I'm writing a report for this audience on this topic. I want to cover these sections. Just give me the first version of it. And what I've actually been doing is telling it, like, give me the structure. Like, how do you think I should structure this? Then it gives me a structure. Then I say, well, actually, I don't want to start with this. I'd rather start with this other thing. And then I get the structure down. And then from there, I might start writing because I feel inspired, or I might tell it, write the first section for me. And I don't use the first section that I wrote, but I'll use it as a template and then I'll go over to my blank page in Word or Google Docs, and I'll start writing based on what it told me. But what I found to be really useful for anything that's long form is to talk to it about the structure and have it help you figure out the structure before you start writing.
Yeah.
All right, Dale, let's go here. Can you talk a little bit? So so we have folks out there that are maybe solo marketers, or maybe, a small team. You have a team of 20. Can you share a little bit best practices, maybe challenges, maybe you had some fails, how your team is maybe collaborating together? So I know there was several questions. I guess bottom line question is, how is your team kind of evolving with AI and finding best practices, what not to do, what doesn't work, what does work?
It's all experimentation at this point.
Yep.
Like, what I found with the training that I've done, because I do AI training with marketing teams, sales teams, operations teams.
Nice.
And what I found is, like, really need to start with understanding the capabilities.
Yes.
So some training where you're learning some basic prompting, and then some other tools that you might decide to use, how you could use it to create visualizations and do data analysis, and then also using it for content and repurposing existing content and all the other things that we're talking about. Like, you just want to see a taste of that, because that's what helps you understand the capabilities and really get the ideas flowing in your brain. And then from there, move on to building, like, doing your work in a conversational way. So that is like we talked about, help me understand how I should structure this document. No, not really this. I didn't really want that. Well, I want you to avoid these words. So it's like a conversational way of doing it. And you'll learn a lot by doing that. And then the third step is really automating individual tasks. So we would still consider this like individual acceleration, where you're automating or using it to automate the tasks that you work on, the tasks that are time consuming, or that you would like to go away. Not the fun parts of your job, not the rewarding parts of your job, but the parts that you would love to go away. Right. And just getting there is huge. Like, when we got to that point, we had measured a 30% productivity improvement on our team. So that's amazing. Like, it was wonderful. Yeah. But there are much bigger fish to fry. Yeah. Because from there, you start looking at your processes, and what ends up happening is, like, AI is a technology tool, like many other technology tools that we use, but then you start to think of it more as technology-driven process optimization, where you're, like, improving your processes with these new technologies in mind, like with AI helping you. And when you're completely reworking processes, you can see, like, huge jumps in growth. Like, I had one meeting with one of my clients where they're writing content in the medical space, and they were spending 3 hours per article that they were writing. And they had MDs and PhDs writing these articles. And they came back to me, like, the next week, and they're like, yeah, Dale, we implemented some of those ideas. Now we're down to an hour per article. Yeah. And then I talked to him for an hour about, like, the next level of process improvement. Now, this isn't automating the writing. This isn't automating the brain. This is changing the process. And that's where you get the big leaps. Like, they're going to get down from 3 hours to 15 minutes because they're going to have a completely different process for writing this content. And it's written by MDs, reviewed by MDs. Like, it needs to be medically accurate. So this isn't just, like, AI generated content. It's a process that involves AI, human, and exactly how you put that together And what we were talking about yesterday was the UI that the humans use during that process to get it down to the 15 minutes. But we're talking about a massive time savings when we get down from 3 hours to 15 minutes per article.
Okay. Dale, we have these things on our show. We have drop the mic moments, but then we have moments of silence. We're going to take a moment of silence just to kind of like let that sink in and just resonate. A medical team of, MDs, PhDs, high level content going from 3 hours down to an hour, down to 15 minutes. My friend, that is just revolutionary. This is just such a powerful tool.
And I'll tell you what I get excited about. Like when you look at that type of process improvement and how it can really make processes of all kinds like more efficient. One way to look at it is that we're trying to change the process so that we can hire lower cost labor, or let's say less experienced labor. Like that's one way to think about it. And there are a lot of businesses that do that. But then another way to look at it is like what we were doing in the last story I told you, which is that we're trying to use the most expensive labor that we can find, which is like a PhD MD. Like this guy went to medical school and then went back to school and got a freaking PhD. And I had trouble sitting through algebra class, So we're trying to use the most expensive labor that we could find and make it worth it by 10xing the output that we get out of that labor, and making sure that, the content we get is medically reviewed and medically accurate and, legal and regulatory and all that good stuff. So that's been eye-opening for me, which is, you can get such high levels of efficiency that you end up going after more expensive labor, more expertise in trying to plug that into your processes, not less.
That's a great point, because if it allows you to incorporate the best minds, but still come out at a competitive cost to others that don't have that experience, don't have that process, don't have that knowledge base that you're working from. It's huge. It's huge. Wow.
Yeah, you're basically solving a different problem.
Yeah.
Because for a long time we've been solving the problem of it, like how do we get this process done cheaper?
Right.
So that we don't have to pay Mr. PhD to monitor the whole process.
Right.
But now we're like, no, let's hire Mr. PhD, give him as much money as he wants. And
right.
because we've got these tools that are going to make him hyper productive.
Gosh, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's all I can say. And how we've even heard that concept of like, no, we're not going to hire, less expensive labor. We're going to do the polar opposite. Love that. Dale, for somebody out there that's completely brand new to AI, you've used the word prompt a couple of times. Can you just say if that word, that concept is new to somebody, can you just kind of give us a 101 of AI? Like what do you mean by prompting?
Yeah. I think the best way to wrap your head around it, if you're new, is that there's predictive AI and generative AI. And predictive AI is predicting things. So like, what is the best subject line for this email? Or how much new stock should I order for the store? Like predicting what sales are going to be over the next month, something like that. But then there's also generative AI, which is creating things or summarizing text, and also understanding unstructured data, which is usually text. And generative AI is useful for summarization or creating the first version of an email or a report or something like that. And with both predictive and generative AI, like you can use large language models. So these are AI models that are trained on basically everything that's ever been written on the web, so that they can identify patterns. And with the patterns that they identify, millions and millions of patterns that we might not even recognize as humans when we're reading the web, but they will recognize all of these patterns and then use those patterns to either do prediction or text generation or summarization or something like that. And these are pre-trained models. That's where the PT comes from in ChatGPT. And the fact that they're pre-trained is huge because you don't have to train them. And I think people like lose sight of how big a benefit that is, that these models come pre-trained. So to finally get to the answer to your question around prompting, and for anybody who's used ChatGPT, you know that you can give it commands or instructions that we call prompts. You can tell it what to do, and for the most part, it does it, which is absolutely amazing. It feels like magic. If you haven't played around with ChatGPT, play around with it so you can get a feeling for it. And and then like start to wrap your head around all of the different uses for this type of AI for prediction or generation or summarization in your business. And there's certain types of problems that it does really well for. But I guess one example I always like to give is when I was in grad school, we were working on Department of Defense research, like I told you guys at the beginning of our conversation. And what we were doing was predicting, is this airplane flying overhead, is it friend or foe? And you can imagine using that prediction in a military setting or not. Like that is AI that needs to be 100% accurate before you can deploy it, because it's very high stakes. The AI that we have today, using ChatGPT and all these other models, they're not 100% accurate. Like in fact, they make things up. They might predict incorrectly. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong. You have to understand that and bake that into your process. But it turns out that there are many, many problems where 90% accuracy is good enough, and can do things like give you the results that I was talking about before, making it dramatically easier to write content or do research or to make predictions when it's not life or death, like in marketing or sales and many other types of processes. The prediction and generation that these models can perform is so cheap that it's just very attractive to try to bake them into your processes.
All right, man, it's drop the mic after drop the mic here, Dale. This is just so good. I want to go here. Small manufacturer, you're at the Industrial Marketing Summit, great keynote speaker. Again, we're here with Dale, CEO of Fire&Spark. Strongly encourage you, welcome you, invite you, implore you, connect with Dale on LinkedIn. You will thank us for doing so. Dale, small manufacturer out there, maybe 20, 30 employees. There's a solo marketer on staff. They're kind of, starting from scratch. And they come to you like, gee, Dale, this whole marketing, I've been living on trade shows. I've been on the road doing cold calls, for decades. This whole digital marketing thing is just new to us. Any tips or advice for folks of, I'm going to down a little notch. Any tips or advice for that new manufacturer that's new to marketing? What would be
because you're mentioning two transitions and conflating them, which is why it's hard for the small manufacturer. Because one is moving from like offline marketing to digital marketing. Like that's hard enough. But now the industry is moving from digital marketing to AI marketing, which is further complicating things. In that scenario that you're talking, because I've worked with so many manufacturers that have, a marketing manager, and the marketing manager may or may not, different levels of experience, let's put it that way. Really what I would do is I would invest in training for the marketing manager on using AI tools for marketing, because that is one area where you can get some pretty solid bang for the buck with everything from your communications to your website to content that you're writing. When you're doing, I do a lot of trade shows. Like when you're doing trade shows, there's still applications for AI at trade shows. Like things like taking pictures of business cards that you get and then automatically having those processed and stored anywhere in any system that you might want to keep them. But AI should be doing that automatically. And then also generating any content that you might want to bring with you to the trade shows, and even doing design and layout for any content that you would want designed that you're bringing to trade shows. One thing that I do when I attend a trade show is I have one of my AI automations take a look at the website for the trade show and tell me about who's going to be there, what they do. Specifically, I want to know, are there going to be any other agency owners there? Are there going to be any businesses there that fit my current client profile? And that's what large language models like the current generation of AI are really good at, which is looking at unstructured data and doing natural language processing. And then you can answer questions, or it will answer questions about the website. So I just wanted to throw that out there. There's a lot of uses for today's AI, even if the only thing you're doing is going to trade shows. But assuming that you do also have a website and you have like a marketing manager that's doing some digital marketing, you want to very quickly train your marketer to be an AI marketer. And what that means is they understand the capabilities of AI tools, so that when they see a problem, they've got a complete tool belt, a complete tool chest on how to solve that problem. And that might be a problem like you might go to your marketing manager and say, hey, I'm going to this trade show. Let me know if there's any of the sponsors there that I should hook up with. That problem is perfect for AI. And you would want your marketing manager to know that. And right now, none of them do because this stuff is so new. So you just have to find well, I do training, so feel free to call me. But you definitely want to train your marketing manager so that they understand the capabilities and then get them using the tools. And then the next step is that they're going to want to invest in some dedicated AI tools, maybe for email marketing, maybe for blog writing, maybe for managing the website or for trade shows. Like, who knows what that's going to be. And then once you have one person on your team that is effectively using AI, and you're going to measure a 2x productivity improvement. So for the time and money that you put into this, it's going to be well worth it when your marketer is twice as productive as they were before. So you're going to get a huge ROI on it. It's going to be slow going though, because there's a lot of learning. But once you have that individual on your team who's proficient in AI, that individual can lead the way in deploying AI tools for your sales, your business development, operations, and everything else that you do.
Yeah. Well, and then too, as you said, if they're twice as efficient, then every other marketer you bring on in that company, if that's a person that's good marketing leader, every other marketing person they bring on, and the other the halo kind of effect to all the other parts of the business, because now they know AI, they see the
Yes.
efficiency improvements. But I mean, just like in the MD example, if my AI tools allow my marketer to be twice as effective, that means I can spend more on that person, and I can get more people and get more productivity out of them as well. I mean, it's a huge, if you're sitting here today and I've got 6 manufacturers and one of them's got that kind of thing going for them, their marketing's going to leave everybody behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it sounds too good to be true. I would say it sounds too good to be true. Well, I'll say AI sounds too good to be true because it is. And the caveat to all of this is that it takes time to get there.
Yeah.
You can't just hand somebody a tool and say, figure it out. Like, they really do need some guidance. And then also they need support at the organizational level, which means they need some time to figure these things out. It's gonna slow things down initially. And then also, to be realistic, not everything is going to work. So I would say that I got excited about AI tools, or like really applying them to what I do, a year and a half ago. And I would guess that probably half of the stuff I tried actually worked, in that, like, I continue to use AI for that particular task or that particular process. So there's a lot of time spent trying different things where you basically decide, no, AI is really not helping me in this area, so I'm just going to move on and try something else. So there's definitely some work that needs to be done. Like, you have to think of it as change management more than like just some software you're going to buy that just makes everything better. It's change management because it's going to require people to do the hard work of learning it, and they may not be interested in doing that, just to be honest. So you've got to give them a reason why, like, the future with these tools is way better than the way that we're working now, to get them excited, and then give them the support, like pay for the software, give them some time to learn it. And then inevitably what they're going to do is they're going to come back to you and they're going to say, okay, now that I understand how to use these AI tools, we actually need to work differently. And it's little things like, hey, I need you when you're at a trade show to take pictures of the cards. Don't just put them in your pockets, right? And that's a small process change. But there are going to be much bigger process changes. But the benefits are huge.
Dale, have you seen, or do you foresee companies where they'll have a dedicated AI person? That might be a dumb question.
Yes, it's interesting because you can call that person like a CAIO, so Chief AI Officer. Oh my God, say that 3 times in a row. If you next time we'll do a drinking game. Every time we say
right.
And at the end we'll just go into chorus around CAIO. We'll do that next time. So you can hire a fractional like chief AI officer nowadays, and I've done that for a few organizations, and that is the right thing to do when you're what am I trying to say? When you need somebody to really dive deep into your processes and kind of and try to map them to the technology to figure out what the opportunities are. But there is also another model for it, because really at the end of the day, you want to get to the point that an expert or multiple experts on your team have the epiphanies, where not only do they have that subject matter expertise in what you do and how you do it, but they also, in the same brain, they understand the capabilities of the AI tools and how to apply them. And when you get those two things in the same brain, that's when the most magic happens. So you really want to bring in a trainer or a fractional AI officer or something like that to get your people to that point, rather than to think that you could bring in somebody outside who's going to learn enough about your business that they can map the technology capabilities to the expertise and get things done. That's really going to be somebody on your team with the expertise that's going to have those big aha moments on how things can be improved.
Wow. Okay. Absolutely love it. Having the product, the subject matter expert internally, combining, what a mind blowing combination that's going to be, right?
Yeah.
How valuable is, you want to be valuable in the market and create job security. That's a great way to do it right there, is become that subject matter expert, tie it in with being an AI expert. Yeah, man, we could keep you all day. I've not even paid attention to the clock. I know I want a couple of things left here before we wind down. You're a big proponent of building communities for marketers. Anything that you want to share as far as like how a marketer can work better at creating community, whether, through digital marketing, AI, anything that you want to share there?
Yeah, I mean, it can be very difficult to create a community, but we all know like digital marketing is changing, especially with AI. So it's getting harder on a lot of channels to get in front of your audience. The trade shows we're talking about are more expensive and more exclusive, but also if you're doing Google advertising, that's more expensive, and SEO is getting more competitive. All of that stuff works better when you're building a community around your brand. And that means something different depending on where people are at. One company I work with, GrabCAD, that maybe some people listening have used if they do CAD design for manufacturing. But GrabCAD was a startup that I worked with as their marketer a while back. And we built a community around the brand, which was engineers that were doing, mechanical engineers that were doing CAD design. And we got them into the community by offering them opportunities to basically like do a contest where a big company like Boeing might come in and they need like a particular part designed, and the engineers in the community could basically submit to this contest. So there were a lot of other things where they could meet the CEO of some of these companies, and also collaborate on designs on the platform. But the whole point there was we were building a community around the brand, not just doing like traditional marketing. And anytime you have the opportunity to build a community around your brand, it's just going to make everything else easier.
Right. Phenomenal
example.
Great
example.
Absolutely love that example. And when you did your community, did you have them? Were they on a website? Were they on a Facebook group, LinkedIn group? Like where did you?
So all of the above works.
All the
So
above.
it almost doesn't matter. The reason why we had them on the website was because we were building specific web-based software tools for them to use to collaborate on these designs.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
What a great man. I mean, this has just been pure gold from the AI standpoint, building the community. Dale, one of the last questions I'm going to dive into is scalability. You have right on your LinkedIn profile, you talk about how you've scaled folks up $10 million in sales from a marketing program. Any tips, advice that you want to talk about? Like, how do we get scalable with your marketing strategies?
Well, on the efficiency side, like it's AI, like figuring out how you can use it for what you do. But then sometimes when I'm advising startups, especially in the manufacturing space, they don't really have product market fit, in the sense that they don't know how to talk about their products. So like regardless of what you sell and who you sell it to, you want to figure out how to get to the point that if you mention that this product exists, using the right messaging, so you're mentioning it in the right way to the right customer, whoever your target customer is, they basically have an aha moment. Like you want them to say to themselves, oh, where have you been my whole life? Like I didn't know this product existed. And if you're not getting that reaction, you don't have product market fit, or you're describing your product as a commodity product, maybe it is a commodity product. But you really want to get to that point, and that's what's really difficult. But when you have that product market fit and you can feel it, and it makes everything else easier. It's once again, it's a force multiplier.
Yeah. Absolutely love it. So, all right, community, scalability, efficiency, going from 3 hours down to 15 minutes, just tons and tons of pure gold. Boy, if you're just joining us, encourage you, connect with Dale on LinkedIn, hit the rewind button and just replay, just go step by step.
Yeah.
Dale, you just laid out a full blueprint for us. As we wind down, parting thoughts, words of wisdom that, anything that you want to share with folks out there
Yeah, I would say connect with me if you're interested in AI or SEO. I love talking about this stuff. If you have any questions. Another big thing we didn't have a chance to get to is the fact that like Google is changing. So Google is going to be adding some generative AI features, and we're all trying to figure out like what that's going to mean for sites that are getting organic traffic. Right. So for anybody listening, like if you are getting organic traffic now, you might want us to take a look at. I'm happy to take a look at it. Around how Google's SGE might affect your website, because what Google's going to do is give engineers and searchers of all types the answer rather than sending them to your page. Yeah. And that's something. The way that we're optimizing for that is we're building what we call pull through content. And these are content types that Google can't summarize and just give people the answer. Imagine if you need the data sheet, or if you want a data sheet that compares, or a page that compares to two parts that you might be researching or something like that. Like that's a piece of content that Google is not going to just summarize in an effective way. But there's many, many other types of pull-through content. So you want to make sure that you continue to do SEO, because people are going to be continuing to search for your products, but you want to do it in such a way that it's future-proof. And we know that there's some big changes coming in the way that Google works.
Future-proof your business. Damon, takeaways for you today. What do you?
Man, it's just been a masterclass listening. I got 2 pages of notes from this, Dale. It's so great. Just hearing your ideas, how you're using AI, and then the results. The results are incredible, and your strategies to help companies get their marketers up to speed and really see some of those benefits. Thank you.
Yeah, this has been just so phenomenal. I had really high expectations. You completely crushed it. Again, guys, connect with Dale on LinkedIn, Fire&Spark CEO. If you ever, Dale, do you have any speaking gigs coming up on the horizon?
I do, but I'm in Europe actually for the rest of the month at a few different events there. But I'll be back in the US at HubSpot's Inbound Conference, and then Content Marketing World in San Diego. So those will be a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah. And I'll tell you, it is worth every penny. I think, I don't know if I said this, I think I said it before we went live. So I saw Dale speak at the Industrial Marketing Summit, and I just told somebody this week, if I only went to the Industrial Marketing Summit to see Dale speak, and I didn't catch, no disrespect, because they were amazing speakers, every single one of you. I love you. As a matter of fact, Dale, a bunch of them. Carlo, Gregory was just on the program Monday. We have a bunch of speakers coming up from the Industrial Marketing Summit. But dude, you were worth the money of just traveling to Austin just to catch you live. So if you guys get a chance, connect with Dale. Dale, I have one last question for you, my friend, before we wind down.
Sure.
And lo and behold, I don't even need to ask you if you're a baseball fan, because you opened up with the new 1986 Mets, man. That was, you won my heart over with that one. So Dale, let's go here. I have a hypothetical question for you. Curious what your answer would be. And maybe you could use AI for this. Okay.
Oh, you're talking to the AI Dale right now. You didn't even realize.
David, it's not even the real Dale. It's like AI.
Yeah, he's off doing something else.
Dale, let's say that the Mets are playing the dreaded Yankees, man. It's a Subway Series, and it's a bottom of the 9th tie score. Okay. Tie score, guy on second base, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. We need a run. The Mets need a run to like get this game over with. Okay. Manager is on the bench, looks on the bench, says, "Hey, Dale, grab your helmet, grab your bat, get up there, hit in the winning run." So you walk over, slap on your helmet, you grab your bat, you're walking up to hit in the winning run to beat the dreaded Yankees. As you're walking up to the plate, what's your walk-up song?
Oh, that's so fun. So probably the same as when I'm on stage with someone like Who Let the Dogs Out.
Who let is
Because
that,
I've had that in real life.
if you had that, is that Who Let the
Yeah,
Dog
yeah,
Out?
yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
when I
awesome.
can arrange it, that's fun.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, great answer. Appreciate it. Damon, we got a couple more comments here if you want to just show those.
Yeah, we did. We got Navarre's here. Happy day with you learning new ideas. And Sayan, excuse me, thanks. He had a couple comments. He's missing the initial part, but he's going to go back to connect and go back to the beginning. So thanks so much, everyone.
Yeah, so we'll close it out. So, guys, thank you, Dale. Thank you. We appreciate you. And boy, anybody that's been hanging out, it's a great opportunity. Let's give a huge round of applause for Dale for just absolutely crushing it today. We appreciate you guys. We thank you guys. Most importantly, Dale, we thank you.
Yes.
We'd love to tell everybody, man, just go out and be someone's inspiration, just like Dale was for us today. And you'll just make the world a better place. Dale, thank you. Damon, take it away. Let's close it out for the day.
Yeah, thanks, Dale, for being here today. I want to thank everyone that made the comments, put comments in the box there so we can see you're listening. Thanks to all those people that didn't comment and were listening out there. We appreciate you stopping by and listening to us every week. Wow, what a master class today in AI. I'm so excited. Going to go back and listen to this, and I think you should too. If you got in here late, get back to the beginning and start this thing over. Thanks for being here, everyone. We'll be back again next week.